Greetings, fellow Earthlings. My name is Jared, and this is the Jared Show Knowledge Podcast. In this episode, the campaign for views continues. And we're talking about politics. Real politics, I suppose. More like the political system. We're not talking about that fake, let's pretend like we hate each other so we can get more publicity kind of thing. Hit the music.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
The Jared Show.
change the world.
Welcome, one and all, to the show. As much as I would love to ignore politics and just hide till November, I also want to get a message out as to why politics is a waste of time. So, we got a bit of a dilemma here. Hashtag ignore politics comes from a show talking about politics. But are we really talking about politics, like Biden and Trump and Pelosi and all these people? Or are we really talking about the political system? Okay? I think that's what we're really talking about here. You know, ignore Trump, Biden, all that stuff. And as much as I don't care about the candidates for president, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, they don't care about you and me. And I'm alright with that. In this show, we're going to get a bit, shall we say, riled up. There may be some language, some offensive ideas, which seem to be a thing now. But all of this has got to be said. We'll jump into it when we get back. Hey there, my name is Jared, and I am campaigning not for your vote, but for your eyes and ears. I'm running a campaign for your views on YouTube or podcast plays. I'm not interested in who you're voting for, and neither is anyone else, especially not the candidates. They already know who wins, and it ain't the American public. That's why I've started a campaign to say, ignore politics. I think it's time we all took a deep breath and got a big whiff of this political system. Smells like bullshit. Hashtag ignore politics and hashtag viewsnotvotes. Let's get these two trending so that we the people can send a message. That we the people will not be distracted, we will not be brainwashed, and we will come together. We will focus on things that matter. Things like family, health, our personal goals in life and helping others achieve their goals, helping people in need, and God. Don't watch out for who to vote for. View something worth watching, something that propels you forward in life, something that helps you get stronger, smarter, faster, better. My name is Jared, and I'm campaigning for you. Pass this show along. Tweet hashtag viewsnotvotes and hashtag ignorepolitics. Thank you for your time, and may God bless you. Welcome back to the Jared Show Knowledge Podcast. I'm glad you could join me. Here's the thing. My dad and my mom are really into Trump. So what I'm about to say is probably not going to go over too well. So let me first start off by saying this. I love you both. And if I offend you, I'm sure we'll get over it. I mean, it's okay to disagree, right? We've had arguments in the past, we're fine. So, honestly, my mom might probably watch this, but my dad will probably not listen to this, as he is too busy listening to Fox News all day to ever listen to anything else. But hey, you never know. But now that we got the parental disclaimer out of the way, let's dig in, shall we? Really, what this episode and this quote-unquote campaign that I'm doing is all about is views, not votes. That's the name of this episode. I actually have another podcast called The Jared Show Wisdom Podcast, where I have really talked about some deep subjects, like the earth versus the world, the mind versus the brain, and several others. Actually, right now, we're getting into comparative religion. I just put out an episode on Judaism, and we're going to Christianity next. We've already done the Eastern religions, like Taoism, Hinduism, Buddhism. So we're moving east to west, and Christianity next. But the reason I mention that show is an episode I did called Diet of the Mind. You should go check it out. There'll be a link in the description below. Maybe you'll see it somewhere around in this area or up here somewhere. It's about how we feed ourselves, the diet that we ingest. Diet is not necessarily just about going on a diet. It's a system, it's a pattern of eating, right? So diet of the mind is how we feed ourselves, both our bodies and our minds, and how it matters what we feed ourselves for both. It matters what we feed our bodies. I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, I know the older I get, the more I realize just how much it actually matters. But I've also realized that it matters what we feed our minds. It matters what we pay attention to. And that's what this supposed campaign is all about. Getting the word out there that politics is toxic. It's worse than junk food. It's like eating poison. All it does is divide people into controllable groups for these millionaires to drain us of attention. You see, attention is the highest form of currency. It's a hot commodity. What you focus on, you will become. And if you focus on old people bitching about things that will never change, you'll start to become that. A bitter, old, gossiping, penny-pinching, slanderous, bloodthirsty, self-centered has-been who only gets off on watching people lose. I mean, watch a bit of a congressional hearing and watch the jabs they take at people while feeling self-important and self-righteous. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. I used to get into politics a long time ago, right when Obama was coming into office. I got into politics in like 2006 or 7. And it was interesting. I used to watch nothing but news and weather. That was pretty much the only thing I watched. I was a lot younger than I am now, and you know, it was interesting to me at the time because I really felt like that was kind of our way out as a people. But we're gonna in the next, not this next section, but the last section, we're gonna get into what it means to be woke. You hear that all the time. There's actually a show on Hulu called Woke. And we're going to get into what it means to absorb all of this information and all this knowledge and know all these things. What you actually do with that. And politics is just not it. I mean, you know, like I said, I used to watch CNN and C-SPAN, which is ridiculous. I used to sit and watch, you know, congressional hearings and things like that. When you do, I mean, you rarely see anything that's good, that's heartwarming, life-affirming, or uplifting. You know, I mean, rarely does any of that come out of politics. It's all about money and status, and you know, clawing your way to the top. You know, making your opponent look horrible or whatever you got to do. At the end of the day, those people, they don't care about us. Excuse my language, but politicians don't give a fuck about you. They care about themselves. They care about being in office until they die. They don't care about the poor working people that have to actually get up every day and be productive. Right? They can be in office for 2 years and not have done anything. and still get elected, still get up every day, still make what I think they make like $250,000 a year or something, which may seem like a small amount, but they also get paid by lobbyists. They also get opportunities to go take CEO positions at different corporations. One of the biggest ones would be Dick Cheney working at Halliburton back in the day. This happens quite a bit. So that's why it's time, really, we should stop caring about them. They don't care about us at all. And I'm going to get into some ranting and raving about that in a little while. But at the end of the day, it's up to us to change our mentality. But I look at it like this. I want to know who really cares what Donald Trump tweets. Yeah, I have Twitter, but I ain't spending my time waiting for the next petty insult from the guy who's supposed to be the leader of the free world. That guy don't care about you or me. He don't. That guy only cares about himself. Just ask him a question and see how fast it takes him to start telling a story about how great he is. He's a narcissist. But he's not the problem. Donald Trump is not the problem, okay? I don't even want to get into Donald Trump, to be honest. It's no other person that's going to come in and fix it all. It's not, Kamala Harris or whoever that we're, we got to get him out of the office or we got to get him in. I think by now, after the 3 or 4 episodes that we've done about all these things, if you go back and listen to some of those things, you start realizing what the system is all about. It's really just there as a distraction. The whole lot, all of those people in Washington are all just like him. They're all narcissists. They all hide it a little bit better, but they're all narcissists. They're all there for self-serving reasons. That's how they can get up every day and make their money and find their opportunities to be millionaires, already are millionaires, and just do nothing every day. And show up to work and kind of hang out and talk to some people. I mean, really and truly, look at what a politician does. Right? Go look this up. Go look up what a politician does every day. What is their job? What are their duties for their job? All right, is to vote on things and make bills and legislation. Right? Legislators. What is it that they do? How much? And they get paid pretty well, and they get some really good opportunities because of the power that they're wielding, supposedly the power that they're wielding. I think it's up to each and every one of us to decide what we are viewing. Instead of these narcissistic, idiots in Washington that do not care about you. We need to start looking at what we're viewing, what we're listening to. We need to start focusing more on what matters in our own lives. We need to start focusing more on what members in our own family are tweeting instead of what Donnie Trump's latest feud is. We need to start getting to know our friends, family, co-workers more. Here's a question I want to know. How many of us know the favorite color of good old Donnie Trump, or Kim Kardashian for that matter? How many of us know their favorite color and not the favorite color of our own family members? I'll be honest, I'll be brutally honest with you. Full disclosure, I don't know the favorite colors of my aunts and uncles, and I think I know probably my dad and mom, but not my cousins. I don't talk to them that much, but I should. Right? I'm just as much at fault here as you are. I'm talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you. Right? We need to do that for ourselves. Here's another question. How many of us know what Donald Trump's favorite book is, have ordered it, and then read it? yet don't know what books our kids are reading in school, or what they are learning in school. Right? Here's the thing. Here's what we need to do, and this is what this whole campaign is about. It really is. It's about shoving politics aside and starting to reconnect with those people around us. We need to stop watching Fox News. We need to start watching something that is uplifting and positive. You know, politics and video games have a lot in common. Maybe you didn't think so. You know, maybe you just see the obvious. They're both games, right? But it's more than that. Politics is a lot like video games, but really for older people. They don't want to, their thumbs don't work that great, and they're not that fast, hand-eye coordination. But they still have their own video games going on. Here's the thing. With video games, kids spend so much time playing and getting all into it. I mean, talk to a 15-year-old, 16, 17, 18, 20, 25-year-old and ask them about Minecraft. Ask them about World of Warcraft. Ask them about NBA 2K21. Ask them about Madden. Ask them about the esports league. Ask them about those things, and they will. It's like you opened Pandora. It's like you opened a fountain, and it starts gushing, right? Because that's what they're into, right? The only problem with that is, I mean, they get all into it, but what are they left with at the end of that? They're left with nothing to show for it. I mean, nothing, right? At least with sports, when you get all into basketball, you can go play the sport, right? How many kids are hopefully not playing the video games in real life that they are? I mean, you know, now most video games are, you know, Call of Duty, where you're just shooting people in the head, but at the end of the day, you're left with nothing. I mean, you spent, you know, 10, 15, 20 hours a week or a day sometimes when a new video game comes out, and you're just left with nothing with it. Here's my question. When you get done watching the hours and hours and hours of these talking heads on Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and all these different places telling you how Trump did this and Biden said that and this Democrat said that and this Republican said, you know, you're not gonna believe, stick around and we'll tell you all about it on the next show, you know, with Anderson Cooper, Martha, whoever. Is like, you know, what's worse? Facebook sucking you in with likes and shares and information overload, or the cult of personality that is the news? The news has become something completely different. I mean, it is a whole different animal nowadays. Here's what I'm telling you. Stop watching the news. Here's the thing, man. I mean, you know, you don't want to bury your head in the sand. That's not what we're trying to do here. It's okay to look in on headline news, check out something that's going on. Okay, this happened. You know, this crazy stuff happened in Indonesia or whatever. Right? Or, you know, okay, all right, Biden said this, Trump said that, whatever. But when you're watching 4 to 6 hours of news a day, what are you getting out of that? And now that's the only thing you can talk about, because that's the only thing that you're interested in. So now you're just talking about that to random people. And they don't know how to handle that. Like, what do you know, what? I'm like, it's like, how do you talk to somebody like that? You know? Here's why I say that. Here's why I say stop watching the news. This is what I think is amazing. Ask yourself this question. I'm going to ask you this question. Do you have any idea all of the things we are capable of watching right now? I do appreciate you. I don't take it lightly that you've tuned in and you're listening to this or you're watching this on YouTube. I don't take that lightly. But I do want to point out, you know, right now, if I wanted to or you wanted to, we can go on YouTube and find out how to do a million things. We can find out how to do them or watch people do them, but we can find out how to do things and then go do them. You know, there are channels, hundreds of them, devoted to painting, drawing, sculpture, music. Want to learn how to play a song on piano? YouTube. Want to know how to draw a car? YouTube. Want to know how to fix a car? YouTube. I remember a few years ago, a guy I was working for was making fun of someone who had uttered the phrase, "I learned it on YouTube." And I just kind of shook my head. It was like, obviously, he had never gotten on YouTube, or maybe he didn't realize the full potential of YouTube. And I think the older generation doesn't really get it yet. It hasn't occurred to them the full potential of YouTube. On YouTube, you can learn something, anything. Name it. You can go learn it. You want to fix a lamp? You want to create a lamp? You want to understand how a lamp works? Everything about a lamp. You can do that. I mean, anything. Cameras. How to make YouTube video. I mean, anything. How to make a podcast. How to draw. How to paint. How to do songs. One of my favorites is Justin Sanderco. Go check him out. Amazing on YouTube. It's amazing. You can learn how to do anything. You can go back and watch old concerts from just about any artist you can think of. I used to go back and watch Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and all these people, all these old, rap stars. You get to, DMX and old school Jay-Z and all their music videos. Or you can at least listen to that music. You can listen to music that is hundreds of years old. I mean, it's unbelievable. The things that you could be watching, paying attention to. You can watch actual reality television. People like Casey Neistat, one of my favorites. I'm so glad that he's doing videos again. Thank you, Casey Neistat, if you happen to ever hear this in the world. Very motivational, very inspirational guy. And he is so good at what he does. I'm not trying to plug Casey Neistat, but I am trying to plug Casey Neistat. The guy's amazing. I mean, I've learned so much from him. Not enough to be on anywhere close to his level, but I mean, he's an award-winning documentary filmmaker that came and changed what we thought of as vlogging forever. I mean, he took vlogging to a storytelling level, and he's an expert at it. I mean, he, if you will, mastered vlogging and brought it to a whole nother level. And I'm so glad that he has returned to do some things now. I mean, I think he's still trying to find his footing and all, but yeah, Casey Neistat, go back and watch his catalog. Go look at the things that he's done. Amazing. Not only that, look at Sailing La Vagabond. Right? You want to live vicariously through some people and look at some really cool people, Riley and Elena and their new son. Yeah, amazing. Sailing La Vagabond on YouTube. Go check that out. All the van lifer people, all the travel vlogs, there's so much more. You can watch people that have created their own music videos, their own cooking shows, skateboard videos. One of my favorites that I used to watch a lot, I don't watch as much, but is compilation videos of people doing amazing things. I think it was called Amazing People, or Amazing Girls, or Amazing Guys, or Amazing Skateboarders. Like, unbelievable. Doing amazing things, stupid things, dangerous things. YouTube is absolutely amazing. I believe in YouTube. I've watched YouTube for a long time and will continue to, as long as, things, continue to be a little bit more on the free speech side. But it's amazing, and I think YouTube's only going to get bigger and better. Here, check out these quick stats. Check out this crazy stat. 300 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. Every minute. There's 300 hours of content uploaded to YouTube. Almost 5 billion videos are watched on YouTube every single day. Why is that? Honestly, I don't understand why that's not more. Okay? With all of that content, what are we choosing to focus on? Politics? No, man. No, bro. Focus on something that moves you forward, not something that moves a politician forward. You see, it matters what you view, not who you vote for. I've got a show coming up all about voting, so I won't get all into that right now. My main point is that it matters what you view. Decide what you want to view, not who to vote for. And pass this thing along. Pass this idea along to your friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, anybody and everybody. Let them know. Don't vote. View something worthwhile. But politics matters, they'll say. Our voice matters, they say. I'm not going to stick my head in the sand, you say. When we get back, we'll get into what I was going to title this episode. You are not going to grow up to be... Hey there, my name is Jared, and I am campaigning not for your vote, but for your eyes and ears. I'm running a campaign for your views on YouTube or podcast plays. I'm not interested in who you're voting for, and neither is anyone else, especially not the candidates. They already know who wins, and it ain't the American public. That's why I've started a campaign to say, ignore politics. I think it's time we all took a deep breath and got a big whiff of this political system. Smells like bullshit. Hashtag ignore politics and hashtag viewsnotvotes. Let's get these two trending so that we the people can send a message. That we the people will not be distracted, we will not be brainwashed, and we will come together. We will focus on things that matter. Things like family, health, our personal goals in life and helping others achieve their goals, helping people in need, and God. Don't watch out for who to vote for. View something worth watching, something that propels you forward in life, something that helps you get stronger, smarter, faster, better. My name is Jared, and I'm campaigning for you. Pass this show along. Tweet hashtag viewsnotvotes and hashtag ignorepolitics. Thank you for your time, and may God bless you. Welcome back to the Jared Show Knowledge Podcast. I wanted to title this episode, You Are Not Gonna Grow Up to Be the President. But I felt that was a bit too on the nose. Plus, it's not really the message of this episode, but it does play a part. What this episode is really about is what you feed yourself. Brace yourself, as I feel like I gotta go all Donald Trump or Kanye West on you for a minute and do a bit of ranting and raving. You feel like I've already done that, but really I've just laid out kind of what we need to know, which is views, not votes, right? So I tell you what, skip to the next section if you're tired of ranting, or stick around, let's do this thing. Now, if you listened to Sunday's show, then you would have heard the mind-blowing stats about how you have to be rich to be the president. And how every president, basically, has been ridiculously rich, including Mr. Old George Washington himself, chopped down a cherry tree, with $587 million. Unbelievable. Crazy. And, you know, at the end of the day, anyone with common sense, I think, can see that those millionaires playing games in Washington don't give a flying fuck about us. Not even a little bit. Here's the thing. we talk about representatives, okay? So we talk about these people. We live in a democracy and a republic, and I've already gone over some of this in previous episodes, but just the general narrative that we live in a democracy, we live in a republic, a democratic republic, and we have representatives that represent we the people, right? Now, I've already shown how we live within an aristocracy, or we have to deal with aristocrats being a privileged few. And that's really what we're dealing with. And I think common sense for most people kind of looks at it like, how do millionaires represent me? Now, here's the thing. You may not know a whole lot about me, but it's pretty easy to see I am not a millionaire. Probably I'll never be a millionaire at the end of the day. It's possible it could happen. I don't know if it will or not. That's kind of besides the point. The point is, right now, I'm nowhere close to being a millionaire. I have, less than $100 in the bank right now. I am, for all intents and purposes, I'm poor, okay? Like dirt poor. Now, here's my question. Let's say we are voting for Donald Trump or Biden or Pelosi or whoever. Any one of these millionaires, okay? How do these people represent me as an individual, right? How does Donald Trump, for instance, represent me? Back in the day, they used to have this show. It's called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Bring me my slippers.
A kid's version of that was MTV Cribs. On MTV, they used to go into the crib or the house of, a famous rapper or an actor or whoever. But back in the day, it was that bougie lifestyles. Excuse me. It was lifestyles of the rich and famous, right? And it was like Grey Poupon and all this stuff. And it was interesting. And then you had people like Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie had this show. I think it was called Simple Life. And it just blew everybody's mind that on this show, I think this was like 2000, I don't know. I haven't looked this up. I just remember the show. I remember on the show, I think it was like 2010s, somewhere in there, between like 2000 and 2005 or 6 or something. And I just remember on the show that on the show, these rich girls, so Paris Hilton came from the Hiltons, Nicole Richie came from a recording artist, I forget his name at the moment, Lionel Richie, thank you. So these two rich teenage girls went and lived with a simple farm family, and there was an episode where they went to they were going to Walmart, right? And I think a lot of people, maybe if you're not in the U.S., but I think a lot of people pretty much know what Walmart is. But these girls were so above those people. They were so much richer than the people that they were staying with that they asked, what is Walmart? Is that where they sell walls and stuff? And it was mind-blowing. It was like this joke and all that. But really the joke was on the people that weren't those people, right? There's a reason that there was a show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. It shows us how different their lives are compared to ours. And I've said this before. I don't think I've said this on camera on the podcast, but the difference between the way a person that's worth $1 million, $1 trillion, $1 billion, whatever figure you want to put behind it, like somebody like Jeff Bezos, worth like $200 billion, what they wake up and do and what they think of, what their mind is like, and the things that they're invested in is way, 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 way different. And I mean, you watch 10 minutes of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and you can see that. Those people, they're not worried about the rent that they have to pay. They're not worried about making ends meet. They're not worried about health care. They're not worried about if, their kid gets sick, or if their kid they don't have enough money to buy their kid blue jeans, and so their kid has to wear blue jeans every day for every day for a week. They're not interested. They're not interested. One of my tires blew out, and now I don't have the money to fix it, and so now it's just sitting out in the yard, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm gonna get to work, right? They don't live that way at all. They don't even think that way. So how can those people, in essence, represent me at all? How can millionaires that have never, ever, ever known what it's like to not have a dime to your name and to wonder what you're going to eat the next day? How can those people represent me or anybody like me? It's not that I'm dirt poor. I'm wearing an Apple Watch right now, so I'm not dirt poor, but I have $100 to my name. I have to work every day, right? I have a regular full-time job that I do every single day, and I do this on top of that, right? And I have to do that. If I don't do that, I don't eat. If I don't work, I don't eat. For all of those millionaires that are playing at politics up in Washington, if they don't work, it doesn't matter. They could go off and ride a jet ski for the rest of their lives. It doesn't matter, right? Jeff Bezos, Donald Trump, all these people, it doesn't matter to them. They don't care. They've moved above money. Money doesn't mean anything to them. So how can they represent people where money means everything to us? If I don't have money, I don't eat. I don't have a place to be, right? I don't have a way to get to work and make some kind of money, right? How can people that don't care about money anymore represent people that money is the only thing that they have to care about every day? If you don't get out of bed and go to work tomorrow, do that enough and you won't have a place to be, a place to stay. So how can one represent the other? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like George Carlin said, and I quoted this at the very end of the last episode. I won't say the whole quote again, but basically the gist of it was, it's a big club and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. Those people, those millionaires and all that stuff, I'm not talking about millionaires as if that's a bad thing and all that. I mean, I'm sure some of those have rags to riches stories and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, those people live a completely different lifestyle. The majority of those people, I would say, don't know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. They have no idea. And if they did, it was a long time ago. A long time ago. And that's a problem, right? To go and explain to those people, like the stimulus check, right? The stimulus check where they were just kind of, people are being evicted from their houses because they can't go to work, yet they can't get any money, right? These people, and it's happening now, foreclosures, evictions, all of these things, because they don't know what to do, right? And in the meantime, the Democrats and the Republicans and everybody, they're all fighting with each other, talking crap to each other, right? While people are being kicked out of their houses. Those people don't give a fuck about you. And they ain't never gonna. They don't have to. They only care about themselves. They're only there for themselves, right? It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. Here's the thing, and the reason I was going to call this podcast, You're Not Going to Be President. Basically the idea that little Timmy is going to grow up one day to be the president, that's bullshit, okay? Little Timmy, I got news for you. Tell your kids this, okay? Tell your kids, you are not going to grow up to be president. It's never going to happen, right? Because unless you know somebody, you ain't going to get there. Do you know all of the last presidents that we've had? Go all the way back to, let's say, Jimmy Carter, Richard Nixon, right? Did you know Richard Nixon was a vice president? That's how he got to be president, right? You got to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. You got to be in the club to get to that point, right? JFK, do you have any idea how much money the Kennedys were worth, right? Like, at the end of the day, if you're some little kid living on a farm in Indiana or something, you ain't gonna be president. It's not gonna happen. It's bullshit. And what I propose is we should stop feeding our kids bullshit, right? We should at the end of the day, we should be realists and realize that politics is just a game that these millionaires are playing. That's the age-old joke. When you don't like a sport, say it's football or basketball or baseball or whatever, right? You're like, I don't like that game the millionaires play. Think about it. Most everybody in basketball is millionaires, right? And they play a game. That's what they do. It's millionaires playing a game, right? Like little kids. The worst part is we enjoy that. We know that's entertainment. It can be motivational and uplifting sometimes. Go check out my man Steph Curry, my guy with the Golden State Warriors. He's amazing. He's awesome. I've talked about him before, right? But I'm not going to let Steph Curry dictate my life. I'm not going to sit here and talk about nothing but Steph Curry, right? What a waste of my time that would be, right? Especially, every little tweet Steph Curry says. I mean, every once in a while I check in. I do follow Steph Curry on Twitter. Right? But at the end of the day, what he says is not going to dictate what I'm going to say to a bunch of other people. I may be getting a little off the cuff here. At some point, maybe that will happen, right? Because I do respect Steph Curry. But when it comes to, politicians like Donald Trump, Pelosi, John Boehner back in the day, all these people, right? Go all the way back. Look at people like Bob Dole and Clinton and, George Herbert Walker Bush and all these things. You go all the way back. It's just some big club that they don't want you in, right? You got to be a part of a family to get in. Why do you think both Bushes, right? George Herbert Walker Bush in the 90s and his son ended up being both presidents. I'm probably going to rile up a lot of people with this one. George Bush Jr. looked like he was about as dumb as a box of rocks. Have you ever listened to that guy talk? It was like, what are you saying right now, Junior? Spit it today, Junior. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you saying, bro? Like, you have no idea. He even said one time that his job was to catapult propaganda. You have to beat people over the head with propaganda. And that's what his job was. Unbelievable. That guy was so stupid. He was telling you the things he was told. Right? Like somebody in the back of the thing was like, look, man, your job, right, is to say shit over and over and over and over until they get it. Until you've brainwashed them enough. He couldn't figure out what the fuck he was supposed to say in the middle of like an interview, and he just said what the people told him. It was unbelievable. It was like, how dumb do you have to be to say what somebody... They were telling you that's what you're supposed to be doing. Right? You're supposed to do that by using rhetoric like every other... We're going to Mars. We're going to fix the budget. We're going to do some stuff, right? They ain't going to do none of that shit. Come on. Come on. We all know it's a game. But some people take it more seriously than others. Right? I take basketball pretty seriously. I want to see the Warriors win a championship. Right? But at the end of the day, I'm not going to fight somebody over it. Right? I'm not going to get all pissy and start... talking trash to somebody, although back in the day I probably would have about LeBron. I've since calmed down a little bit about LeBron. I respect the man; he earned my respect. But come on, man, we gotta ease up on politics. We gotta really start looking at. We all know politics is bullshit. We all know it. They lie to our faces every year. Every other year, every 4 years, we go through this same fucking charade. I don't understand why we do. I just don't understand. Right? All I'm saying is we need to step away from the politics, shove it aside and get back down to what really matters. Because it ain't fucking Donald Trump and Joe Biden and all these jackass millionaires playing like they're God up in Washington. Right? Here's what I say. Don't quote me on this. Again, like I said, offensive language is probably going to happen. Here's an offensive idea for you. Fuck each and every one of those politicians. Fuck every single one of them. Okay? Those people don't give a shit about us. They don't give a shit about anybody but themselves. Fuck every single one of them. And I know I'm getting a little riled up. I told you I was going to get riled up in this one, right? And this is why I don't get into politics. Because once you see what's going on behind politics, and you get pissed off at the fact that every single fucking politician comes up there and lies so much that we expect them to lie like a politician, right? To me, it angers me. I don't understand why we allow things like that, right? The fact that those people are allowed to be like that and we call them our leaders, I don't understand that. And that's why I say fuck every single one of those people. I try not to be a hateful person or be ill or angry about stuff, but politics does that. It's a toxic poison, right? It gets me to be riled up and angry. I don't like it. Right? But, and you know, here's the thing. And I've said this before, but, you know, what do we do with all this stuff, right? Once, all the stuff that I've talked about over the past 3 or 4 episodes, and all the stuff I will talk about when we get into all kinds of stuff, right? So, all of this sounds like what they call woke talk. You know, get it, woke talk instead of TED Talk. Some of you might out there get that, but it all sounds like I'm woke. Wow, that guy's woke, right? Awesome, but here's the deal. What do we do with this information? You know, how does this information, all of this stuff that we know, that I know, that I'm saying, how does it affect you? Right? Cool. We learned, fuck politicians. Right? And like I said, here's the thing. Like I said, let's do ignore politics. Hashtag ignore politics. Because we don't want hate out there. We don't want like fuck politics or whatever. That doesn't do us any good. Right? I see a lot of people with these shirts on that say fuck 2020. And I'm like, I just don't see how that does us any good. What good does it do you to be like, I fucking hate this year? It's like, I actually did a podcast about why 2020 is actually a good year. Because I think it's brought us all together. It's given us the chance for families to reconnect. I mean, what else are you going to do? Right? You can only watch Netflix so many times. There comes a point where you have to talk to each other. Right? So I think 2020 has the potential, still, at least, to be a good year. But I see all these people walking around with, fuck 2020. It's like, what a negative, like, I wouldn't want to wear that, Like, I'll put on a shirt, 2020 is a good year. Prove me wrong, And I understand that might be a little callous. A lot of people have died, and I get that. But, go listen to that show. Go listen to why 2020 is a good year. I explained everything in there. But, at the end of the day, what do we do with this stuff? Cool. Like, I don't think we should go in a hateful manner. I don't think we should go about things in, I fucking hate, politics. I fucking hate all those people. At the end of the day, they're just people. Trump and Biden and, all of those people in Washington are just people. And so I didn't say I hate those people. I said fuck those people, right? As in, I don't agree with them. I don't like what they're doing. I am against the things that they're doing, right? But as people, I wouldn't say I hate those people, right? And that's what I'm trying to get across here is like, as we're going about all of this and this campaign and spreading the word and all these things, what we're really trying to do is get the point across is like, ignore all that shit, right? And so, you know, when we get back, we're going to go to break. And when we get back, we're going to get into how this affects our lives. What does woke mean, right? And how does that help us instead of just driving us fucking insane, right? So we're going to get into that when we get back. We'll be right back. And right after this. Hey there, my name is Jared, and I am campaigning not for your vote, but for your eyes and ears. I'm running a campaign for your views on YouTube or podcast plays. I'm not interested in who you're voting for, and neither is anyone else, especially not the candidates. They already know who wins, and it ain't the American public. That's why I've started a campaign to say, ignore politics. I think it's time we all took a deep breath and got a big whiff of this political system. Smells like bullshit. Hashtag ignore politics and hashtag viewsnotvotes. Let's get these two trending so that we the people can send a message. That we the people will not be distracted, we will not be brainwashed, and we will come together. We will focus on things that matter. Things like family, health, our personal goals in life and helping others achieve their goals, helping people in need, and God. Don't watch out for who to vote for. View something worth watching, something that propels you forward in life, something that helps you get stronger, smarter, faster, better. My name is Jared, and I'm campaigning for you. Pass this show along. Tweet hashtag viewsnotvotes and hashtag ignorepolitics. Thank you for your time, and may God bless you. Welcome back to the Jared Show Knowledge Podcast. So now we're what's called woke. Woke. Right? Actually, like I said, there's a show on Hulu called Woke, which is interesting. It's kind of weird. There's some stuff on there I don't really particularly care for, but I did watch it. It was interesting. But you could call us now we've gone through all these things, you know, and maybe you already knew all this stuff, right? But I think if you didn't, maybe now you see how corrupt the political system is. We see the Illuminati and the gunman on the grassy knoll and the war for profit and all the shadows have really been brought out into light. I mean, not all of them, but we've brought out some political shadows and explained, like, really we live in an oligarchy and politics is really just a facade, right? Just a fake front. It's like when you launder money, you have to have a money laundering scheme, and so you end up buying a front business. That's really what politics is. Politics is just the front for the power laundering business. Okay? I know that was like super deep and really profound. I do what I can. But seriously, we brought some of these things into the light. Not everything, but some of them. But, what do we do now? Cool, great, all right, we got it. All right? Views, not votes, we understand. But I think what I'm talking about is really even more than what I'm talking about here, right? It's more than just politics. When you start to see kind of these things, you get into looking into how the world works. And you get into it and you realize things are not quite what you were told. Like reading Howard Zinn's The People's History of the United States. History wasn't quite like you read it in the book. You get into science and you realize, how those things, again, go to the other podcast, the Wisdom Podcast, and I get into some of those things. I'm going to get a little bit deeper, too, getting into quantum mechanics and things, which is amazing. It's interesting. The collapse of potentiality into solid matter, it's amazing. But at the end of the day, it's like that's, those things are interesting, and you start learning a lot, and you start gaining a lot of knowledge that maybe you didn't receive in high school or college or whatever. You start seeing it, and there's a lot of conspiracy stuff. There's a lot of crazy stuff on YouTube as well. That is kind of the dark side of YouTube. They get into, things that, again, it matters what you're watching. There's good and bad on YouTube. But the real question is, what do you do with all of that? I think we've kind of touched on it a little bit, and I'm kind of going past what the answer to what woke is. I think maybe once you're woke, and once you see things, honestly, I don't even like the term woke. I kind of look at more like awareness. I think it makes more sense to say I'm aware. I don't really like the term woke. But maybe you're at a point where like you get it, and you're like, you see some stuff, and you're like, I'm gonna start my own podcast, like me, and I'm like, yo, man, go for it, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, please do start a podcast. Please start a YouTube channel. Please start a vlog. Do all of that stuff. You know what I mean? I let me know, and I'm more than willing to give it a listen, or give it, go check it out. Or maybe you're thinking after, okay, I'm woke. Maybe we should all start stockpiling weapons and wait for the world to fall apart. I mean, it won't be long anyway, right? Nah, bro. That's not where it's at, right? Here's what I found is the best way forward with all this wokeness, okay? Here's what being woke really is. It's just being aware of what's actually going on around you. Instead of following the mainstream narrative, the thing that they're telling you, hey, this guy over here, the president is the leader of the free world. It's like, is he really though? Right? Like, there is no such thing as a one world government. Is that true? Right? Here's a question for you. Where is the United Nations located? Where's the World Bank? Where's the International Monetary Fund? The United States kind of is the world superpower. We kind of already have a world government. Like, that's kind of already happened. It's, these mainstream narratives that we get of Donald Trump is horrible and Joe Biden's an idiot and all of this crap that was just shoveled at us every day. When you shut that off and you start asking questions and going and looking for those answers, you'll find them. You start finding these answers, and you start looking at things a little bit differently. And that's what I'm talking about, is once you learn what's actually going on, here's what it really does for you. What it does is it grants you choice. You get to make a choice now, instead of just following the crowd. You get to actually decide what you watch, what you talk about, what you read, who you talk to, and what you do every day. So many of us get stuck in these ideas that this is just the way life is, right? Like this idea that, well, we have to go to school and we have to get really good grades so that we can get into a really good college. We can get really good grades in college so that we can have a really good job. And then we can have a really good job so that we can make plenty of retirement money, or 401k or a pension or whatever. And then we can retire, and then we can go do the things that we want to do. That is an old mode of thinking. It's an old way of living. And it's outdated. Do you really have to go to college to learn to be the thing that you really want to be? Maybe it would help, Maybe it would help me if I had gone to school to learn how to do cinematography, or public speaking, or how to play music. Maybe I'd have a better intro song. I don't know, right? But at the end of the day, do I really want to pay like $250,000 to find out one way or the other? And then once I have all of that debt, now I have to go get a job that may or may not have to do with the thing that I went to school for in the first place. And I still have to pay that, and I'm just in debt. Okay? We haven't got into money. We're gonna at some point. Probably, I would say soon. Not extremely soon, but soon. What is money? What's it all about? I'll give you a little heads up. Money's just numbers on a screen at this point. It has no intrinsic value. It only has value that we place on it. It's a fiat currency system. So now you've gone to school. You may or may not have gotten your diploma from this place. You went to school to go do something, and you may or may not have got a job at that particular thing. God help you if you went to get a liberal arts degree. So you went through all of this to get to this point where now you owe $40,000, $50,000, $80,000, $100,000, $200,000, $250,000, and you're stuck in the system. That's your lot in life now, right? And so I think so many people, you've seen that to so many people, but at the end of the day, when you realize it's just numbers on a screen, those people that are trying to collect from me, it's better for them to let me pay whatever I can than it is for me to not pay anything. But that's not how most people see it. You go through that whole process of doing, whatever, and then there's the other side of it. I fell prey to that, where you just do whatever, let's just get high, man, smoke some weed and get, fucked up. And you don't do anything. I mean, that's a very real possibility. I've done that. Thank God I'm on the path I'm on now. But at the end of the day, it's like, which one do you learn more in? I think the only way you go to college is if you have an exact idea of what you're doing. Don't go to college to find out. Don't do that. Don't waste your time and your money. Don't waste your parents' money. Don't do that. Right? But what I'm saying is this archaic mode of making a living, this American dream that we've had, I think it's dead. I think it died a long time ago. I think we recognize we have the choice in what we do every day. I think we feel like, oh, well, we don't have, I have to go do this job. I have to do this job. I'm here to tell you, I've been homeless. I've had as much money as I needed every day. I've been to the top and the bottom. I have done amazing things. I've seen amazing things. When I think it was probably 7-8 years ago, I took all the money I had in the world. I packed my little Toyota Camry, and I moved to California. And I was homeless for 8 months, 9 months. And I just wandered around and did what I had to do. I learned. I talked to a lot of people. I eventually got into an apartment. A beautiful girl, and we shared an apartment together, and it was a beautiful thing. But I've been in all of these different situations. I've been in places where I had as much money as I needed at any given time. I didn't have to work. I didn't have to do anything. I've been to the top and I've been at the bottom. I know what that feels like. And I'm here to tell you that whatever you're doing, whatever's going on with you, maybe you're feeling stuck, maybe you're feeling confined, maybe you're feeling whatever. Really, the only thing that's going to cure it for you is hard work. And at the end of the day, you either take a leap of faith or you work your ass off. Like I said, I have a full-time job that I do during the day, and I do this at night. And I got a big announcement coming up in a couple of weeks. that's going to be even more fun added to the mix. But, you're never really stuck. You get to really, you can do the things that you want to do. You just have to, sometimes it's not easy, And you get to decide what that is. Being woke is only being aware. Being woke only allows you to see the reality as it truly is, which is you always have a decision. Which one is better for you? Watching a show on Fox News about how the Democrats are destroying America, even though there's nothing you can do about it, or going for a walk, or going for a run. I just recently started running, and I'm here to tell you it's been kicking my ass, especially today. But yeah, which one's better for you, right? How about cooking a good meal for you and a friend and catching up on what's going on in their life? Which one of those, out of those three scenarios, which one do you think is better for you? Now you have the choice. Choose wisely. There's so much division in life right now. And it's not all Donald Trump's fault. He's just doing his job. His job is to distract you. He's very good at it. But he's not the only thing that's distracting us. There's racial tension. Really should be known as ethnic tension. We're all part of the human race, so it's not racial tension. Which has gone on for how long now? Like haven't we already gone through all of this? Looting, rioting, and even coronavirus, even a pandemic. We've already been through this in 1916 or 1816 or whatever. We've already gone through all these things. They're really, at the end of the day, just distractions. Go listen to the things I was talking about. Coronavirus. I did a 2-part episode on that one. Go listen to what I was talking about on BLM, Black Lives Matter, and Jacob Blake and all these things. I did a 2-part episode on all that as well. The first part, I broke down all of the, like, Breonna Taylor, Jacob Blake, George Floyd, Rashard Brooks. And then the second one, I kind of brought it home and was like, look, this is what's going on. It's a systemic problem. It's a systematic problem that we're dealing with. And politics is part of that system, right? It's a systemic problem we're dealing with. And all of these things that we're talking about, riots and looting, even coronavirus, at the end of the day, it's how it's affected us, right? These are all symptoms of a disease within our society. Politics as a whole is a lot of squabbling about things that will never change. We know that. We all know that. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. I say, focus on what matters and work on something and not at something. It's a very simple idea with profound consequences. When we go to a job every day, we work at just staying alive. We work at a job. But when we get off of that job, we should be working on something that is going to take us to another level in life. Getting all involved in politics as if it was your second job does nothing for you unless you're going to be a politician. And are you? You got the money for that political campaign? Probably not. Maybe you do. Go for it, right? I'm just saying, I'm probably not going to help you out with that. I'm probably not going to sponsor you to be a politician. I'd like to make a couple things clear before we wrap this show up. One, I care about Donald Trump as much as he cares about little old me in my room talking to this camera right now. Not one bit. Donald Trump don't give a shit about me or really anybody else but Donald Trump. That's pretty obvious. Joe Biden the same way. I don't give a shit about Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Pelosi, any other person that's running for Hillary Clinton. I don't care about any of that stuff. Just like they don't care about anything that I'm doing. Right? The only thing that they would care about is if 100 million people listened to everything I was saying and it got pushed in front of them enough because it was going to affect their campaign in the way that they look. Right? Again, that's politics. The only way that they're going to care is how it makes them look. So if 100 million people, which I seriously doubt that's going to happen, but if 100 million people watch this and they were like, oh, I hate politics. I often wonder this question. What would happen if every single person in the United States did not vote? And they could prove that they didn't vote. Because I'm not going to vote. That's pretty obvious. I'm extremely against voting. And I'm going to do an episode, I think it's going to be in a couple of weeks, where I'm going to explain why, right? Right before the election, I'm going to do it. And we're going to get into, in a couple of weeks, we're going to get into voting in general. But obviously, I'm not voting, right? And there's a very good reason for that. But at the end of the day, those people, they care about me as much as I care about them, right? Which is not one bit, right? So, number one, I just want to clarify all that, right? Which is, I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about Donald Trump and all those people. That's not where I'm coming from with any of this stuff, okay? I hope that's pretty obvious by now. But number two, politics is interesting, okay? I'm not saying bury your head in the sand. I am saying ignore politics. But I'm not saying bury your head in the sand. I'm not saying be ignorant about anything, right? It can be entertaining. But here's the thing, don't get lost in it, right? Don't let that dictate your mood or your life or the things that you talk about. Don't let it dictate your personality. Don't let it dictate who you are, right? Because those people don't give a fuck about you. And they ain't going to change your life. The people around you are the people that are going to change your life. The people that you surround yourself with are the people that are going to change your life, not those politicians. Those politicians are only looking for you to give them attention. It's a commodity worth way more than money to them. That's obvious. And finally, I want to clarify this. I'm not against rich people, okay? Millionaires can be down to earth. I've known a couple of millionaires. I know one or two now. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, rich people are horrible and all these kind of things. I'm not saying we shouldn't have rich people, right? Or those people shouldn't have all of that money, although in the case of someone like Jeff Bezos, like I do start to question, like, how much is enough, bro? Like, I ended the last podcast kind of like this, is like, you know, that drives me crazy. It's like, you have $200 billion. How much is enough, dude? You know, if it's all about work and you just want to keep working, I get that. But if you want to keep going, then, you know, give $1 billion away or something, you know? Man, I'll take $100,000 off your hands if you're giving money away, but and I'm not even saying he should have to do that. I'm not a socialist or a communist. What I am is a realist that believes in God. And having that much money is just ridiculous. But it's his choice. We all have choices to make. All I'm saying is stop. Take a deep breath. Take a minute to look at the choice you just made. Whether it was to walk into another room, turn a light on. Maybe you're running or driving down the street and you chose to take a right onto the street that you're on. Or maybe make a cup of tea. Be aware of that choice that you just made. Look at the consequences of that choice, the effects. With that awareness, look at what you focus on most during the day. So now you're aware. You're self-aware. Now take a look at what you focus on most of the day. Is it yourself? Is it somebody you have never met before, like a celebrity or Donald Trump? A politician? Is it a news organization? Is it, a musician? Look at what you focus on most of the day. Is it work? Is it what you're gonna do next? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at what you watch most often. Look at what you eat and drink. All of these choices lead you to where you are right now. With this awareness, choose wisely. In this episode, we have heard a little ranting and raving, but I think it was a necessary message, and it was kind of fun for me. One that needs to be heard. I think this message needs to be heard. And I think it needs to be heard by as many people as will listen. Even if you tell a friend or a family member or a coworker every single thing I've just said, verbatim, word for word, and want to take credit for it, that's okay by me. If you want to listen, if you want to write all this stuff down, I probably shouldn't say all this because you don't give people ideas, but whatever you want to do to get this message out there, please do so. Get this out there. Hashtag viewsnotvotes. Hashtag ignorepolitics. Spread the word, man. Spread the word, please. Get it out there. It matters what you focus on, not who you vote for. I'm going to have some t-shirts up on the JarredShow.com. You can go check out. Hashtag viewsnotvotes. There'll be a bunch of t-shirts up there. Go check those out, man. Go grab a t-shirt. Join the cause. We've only got a couple of months. It's true. So here's the thing. You could just duck it and dodge it for, till November, right? But like I started this podcast episode out with, I don't think that's the point. Because this isn't just going to go away after November. It's going to keep going. I'm probably going to chill out. Move on once my little campaign for views is over here. But politics is not. So many people are still going to be sucked into that toxic atmosphere. And they're going to need somebody to come along and say, hey, man, stop doing that. Whether they listen to it or not. I've tried to tell my dad many times. Somebody I love, hey, man, stop, dude. It's just toxic. It's not good for you. You don't want to listen. That's okay. I'll come on here to everybody on the podcast. You don't force things down people's throat. That's not what I'm telling you. Right? What I'm telling you is give people the option. You say, look, man, that stuff is toxic, dude. It's not doing any good for you. You need to wean yourself off of that and get into something that is good for you. Right? That's the message. Go check out the t-shirts. Tweet me. Hashtag viewsnotvotes and hashtag ignorepolitics, please. Get this message out there. Throughout all this ranting and raving and all these things, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've actually had fun. I think it was a lot of fun. I try not to do these ranting and raving episodes too much. I really try to get across facts and ideas that are pretty concise. But every once in a while, I do like to just kind of go for it.
There is another idea.
Be looking for the next episode coming out on Sunday.
It is that space equals
that should be
consciousness.
Interesting. That is going to be all about
what
do
actually
we
we are
really
experiencing
own anything?
is your
That's an
mind.
interesting. Next week's episodes are
Your
going to be
mind,
pretty
of course,
interesting.
is not something inside your head. That is a great mistake made.
Yeah.
Your head is something in your
We're going
mind.
to try not to get into a whole lot of money with that
We
one,
can
but
define a
little
person's
bit.
mind in many ways.
If you are a new viewer,
But beginning with
or
something rather
this is
simple,
something new and you made it all this
mind
way, I
is
do appreciate you.
occupied with
What up,
thinking.
though? Do your thingy. Appreciate it. Yeah, subscribe if you like. Like if you like. Yeah, I know that was... I can dad joke with the best one. Try not to let it out too much, though. It's like a secret weapon. But I hope that you have enjoyed it. And like I said, I have a big announcement coming up soon. Not this week. It'd probably be towards the beginning of October. I get a really, really big announcement. Something I've been working on. Something I've been planning even before I started both of these podcasts and the website and the whole deal. Something I've been planning for a while. Whether it reflects that, we'll see. But yeah, I got something big in the works, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe these podcasts are a little heady for you, a little wordy. We're going to do something fun. So be ready for that. I hope that wherever you are, whatever you are doing, that you are well, that you are safe, and that you feel loved. If you don't feel loved, just know that I love you, and that's why I wanted to tell you all of this. Thank you for listening, and as always, and in all ways, may God bless you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
The Jared Show.